Hi, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Mechak, Madash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to you elect. Alright, so today we're going to get into 2 Samuel, the very first chapter. Quick recap of what happened in the previous chapter. You had Saul and his sons died on the battlefield as Samuel prophesied when Saul had gone to the lady with the familiar spirit and basically conjured Samuel up from the spirit world. And Samuel had prophesied that Saul and his sons would die in the war against the Philistines. And so it came to pass. And then you had the Philistines take the remains of Saul and his sons in the armor barrier and put it in the house of their idols. And then you have the valiant men from Jabesh Gilead rush to get their remains, and so they got a proper burial. And yeah, that's about it. So this is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 1 and 1, and it reads, Now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, and David had abode 2 days in Ziklag. When he returned, he slaughtered the Amalekites because they had invaded Ziklag while David and his men were gone to war with the Philistines against Israel. So he just went to go get what was rightfully his. And it came to pass on the third day that, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul with his clothes rent, and earth upon his head. And so it was, when he came to David, that he fell to the earth and did obeisance. So he fell to the ground and gave David that respect. The man from Saul's army camp. And David said unto him, From whence comest thou? Where are you coming from? And he said unto him, Out of the camp of Israel am I escaped. And David said unto him, How went the matter? I pray thee, tell me. So what went on? What happened? What was the results of the war between the Philistines and Israel? And he answered that the people are fled from the battle, and many of the people also are fallen and dead. And Saul and Jonathan his son are also dead. So he basically told David that even though the Philistines, no, even though Israel fled from the battle, Saul and his sons are dead. And David said unto the young men that told him, How knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan his son be dead? I don't know that. And the young men that told him said, As I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. And when he looked behind him, he saw me and called unto me. And I answered, Here am I. And he said unto me, Who art thou? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. He said unto me again, Stand, I pray thee, upon me and slay me. My anguish is come upon me, because my life is yet whole in me. So I stood upon him and slew him, because I was sure that he could not live after that he was fallen. And I took the crown that was upon his head, and the bracelet that was on his arm, and I brought them hither unto my lord. As you can see, this Amalekite is clearly lying. He thought he can say smooth words onto David so that he can be found right in David's sight, and he can get a pass. But as you can see, he was clearly lying, because that's not what happened at all. He said, Saul and his armor bearer ended themselves, you know? And it could be that Nah, nah. Alright. Where was I? Oh, verse 11. Then David took hold on his clothes and rent them, and likewise all the men that were with him. And they mourned and wept and fasted unto even for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord, and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword. And David said unto the young man that told him, Whence art thou? And he answered, I am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite. And David said unto him, How wast thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? Uh-oh. He didn't expect this question. Uh-oh. And David called one of the young men and said, Go near and fall upon him. And he smote him that he died. Shit. Come on, man, lying. Hey, you shouldn't have lied. You know? Hey. You said something you didn't expect the results. But you said it, so you gotta take responsibility of what you said. You know, David wasn't there to confirm it, and there wasn't any witnesses. You had no witnesses. So it's like he went by your word. And for that, you received the punishment. And David said unto him, Thy blood be upon thy head, for thy mouth hath testified against thee, saying, I have slain the Lord's anointed. Right? Your mouth testified against you. Yeah, you said it yourself. You condemned yourself, literally. Verse 17. And David lamented with this lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. Also he bade them to teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher. So let's look into the word lamented. What does lamented mean? Lamented. To chant a dirge. What does this mean? Lament from the dead, especially one forming of a funeral, right? A dirge is a somber song or lament expressing mourning or grief. Okay, so David had composed a song that fit a funeral song, you could say, for Saul and Jonathan. He lamented with this lamentation, yeah. Okay, he composed. So David had composed a song for Saul and Jonathan, and he commanded it to be taught to the people of Judah. Okay, okay. And I believe the rest of it goes on to what was in the song. Of course, I'm not going to sing it because, yeah, I'm terrible. But this is verse 19, and it reads, The beauty of Israel is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? Tell it not in Gath, publish it not in the streets of Ascalon, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph. Don't, he's basically saying don't announce the news in Gath or the streets of Ascalon, or the Philistines and the heathen will basically rejoice over Saul and his son's death and Israel's loss. Ye mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew, neither let there be rain upon you, nor fields of offerings, for there the shield of the mighty is vilely cast away, the shield of Saul, as though he had not been anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions, they were quick, strong. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet, with other delights, who put on ointments of gold upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thy high places. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of woman. No, Jonathan's love for David, and vice versa. It was deep. It was very deep. Passing the love of woman, it was deeper than the love of a woman. Shit, that's how close to her. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished? That's the end of Second Samuel, the first chapter. So, quick summary: you have this Amalekite who basically came came before David after he returned. It's funny because after he returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites showed up before him, and yeah, the Amalekite basically condemned himself. He told David a lie that he killed Saul and Jonathan because um Saul said to. Saul asked him to, but he condemned himself, and it was obviously lie, so he was put to death because of that. Next time you learn. And then, David wept. David and his men wept for over Saul and Jonathan. And David had composed a song for Saul and Jonathan, and he taught it to the children of Judah. And the rest of it just goes into the song he sang. That's about it. A little bit that's edifying. Next time we get into the second chapter. Until next time, Shalom.